Hello, I'm Charles Osborne, the founder of Acinto, and in this video we're going to take a little bit of an in-depth look at one of the stories from our electric aviation market update for our paying subscribers that we delivered on the 25th of January 2022. Specifically, that story is from the 19-seat or less small propeller/commuter category about Aero and electric power systems working together on the power for their Intergal E prototype and flight demonstrator. So let's get straight into it. Let's bring all the connections in on our electric aviation knowledge graph and use the autocomplete to pick out Aero. Okay, so we can see some of their connections there, and if we bring the info panel up, we can get a list of them there, and we can see a combination of some of their investors, suppliers, customers, that sort of thing. So Aero working on the ERA electric regional aircraft. You see a render of it in the back here, and you can see some more 3D renders of it here, a 19-seat proposed regional airliner. The company have already received an order for that from Amedeo, Amedeo, a customer of this company, so you can see them there in the graph. And again, you can use the link here on the graph next to the entry to pull out and find the source, which is that same press release we're looking at now. So they've done, we've signed a letter of intent for up to 200 of these electric regional aircraft. Although in the short term, well, let's have a look at Amedeo first, because that is a big deal, because it's an asset management, an aviation asset management company based in Dublin, with around $7 billion US dollars worth of assets under management. Do a lot of deals on Boeing and aircraft and Airbus aircraft, and work with major airlines like Emirates, Sichuan, Turkish Airlines, Thai, Alitalia. You can see a selection of them there. It's a really big deal for an aircraft that doesn't yet exist. That's a kind of a digital, proposed digital design at the minute, but they've got some way before getting there. By the time they do, so in 2023-24, one of their partners they've announced, Verkor, will hopefully be online providing cells to them. So they're a proposed gigafactory in France, who I think raised 100 million euros last year, and have the backing, as you can see here, of the likes of Renault Group, Capgemini, Schneider Electric. So although they have a partnership announced with Verkor, they're probably not going to be ready in time to supply batteries, and certainly have some way to go to provide anything aerospace grade that's ready for a customer. And again, Verkor you can see on the graph here, and once you've got that up, you can click on the link here to find evidence of the press release they put out for the partnership with Verkor. Before they get to the electric regional aircraft and before that gigafactory is built in China, they're working on the integral aircraft. So they'll do a piston engine version first, get that certified, and then work on the electric powertrain. I beg your pardon. And they've already got an order for 10 of those from Aelis Group. So Aelis are a Slovakian. Let's pick them up on the graph again, so you can see they're here, and you can find again a link out to the source for that same press release within the graph. So Aelis Group specialise largely in regional conventional aircraft. They're ATR specialists, aircraft financiers and brokers, I believe. But they won't be using Verkor's batteries because presumably they're not ready. They'll be using Electric Power Systems Epic battery series in these first Intergal E 2-seat aerobatic training aircraft. So if we then jump out and have a look in a little more detail, so you can see Electric Power Systems here, how they connect to Aero, and you can see also that we're kind of right at the heart of the industry here. Electric power systems are very well interconnected. So let's have a little look at what they do and why they might be so important. So if we bring the focus on the graph to electric power systems, you can see quite a list of customers, partners, and some investors there. So Utah-based, I think founded in California originally in 2016, power electronics, fast charging, a modular system, and you can see a little render there of an aircraft that gives you a little clue as to some of their customers. But let's clear everything and look at their investors first, because we've immediately got some very recognizable names: Boeing and Safran. So although we don't know more about the Safran deal, we do know that they're talked about as suppliers to both of these companies, as well as having them on board as investors. So if we bring supplier connections in again for electric power systems, zoom it back to this company to find out where it's rendered it in the 3D space, we can start to see some quite interesting connections we can go through here. So we know they provided power to the Boeing PAV and CAV. So the PAV, the Passenger Air Vehicle that Aurora Flight Sciences first got airborne in 2019. We think suffered an incident after that. Unsure exactly what the status is of that within the Boeing Group at the minute, but the CAV, the cargo air vehicle here, the remotely piloted, or I believe autonomous now, multicopter that can take 200 plus kilograms of cargo, 225, of which we believe a good 8 airframes have been made by Boeing so far. So again, we have here this company as a supplier to Boeing, and a source there to the company's about page, where you can see some details of who they've supplied with what as provided on their website. So a supplier to Boeing, a supplier to NASA. So they worked with NASA on the X-57 Maxwell program. So we hope, again, let's pull that page out from the graph, and it should take you straight to here. We'll double check that link. But the X-57, the original Power Pack EPS worked with them on, had some thermal runaway problems. They then worked on delivering, I think, is it an 850 pound lithium-ion battery pack. They borrowed some ideas from battery packs used on the International Space Station, I believe, with thin aluminium separators between cells to aid with thermal runaway problems. That in turn attracted the interest of Aerospace, whose prototype Sun Flyer, I think in 2018, used a similar battery pack and was airborne by the next year. They're also working, so here we have the Aerospace connection there, and the link out to that source. And then the next one I want to talk about is Embraer. So another interesting electric fixed wing project for the company. So the agricultural crop spare, the Ipanema, EMB-203, that they've used as a platform Embraer for other ventures, such as I think their first 100% sustainable aviation fuel flight, an electric variant of that flown with electric power systems tech. You can find the information about that there. Diamond Aircraft, another really interesting project. So Diamond will be using, there's Diamond, will be using EPS tech, again their EPIC battery technology, in the electric variant of the Diamond 40, the EDA40, and their fast charging system. And they envisage that having a 90-minute endurance, I think, once the technology is matured a little bit. Worth noting here, of course, that Diamond Aircraft are now wholly Chinese owned by both Canada and the Austrian R&D and, I believe, engine outfit. They're owned by a subsidiary of Wanfeng Holding Group, which I think we can see if we go to Wanfeng Aviation Industry, bring all our connections in. We can see, so here's the Wanfeng Group, the parent of Wanfeng Aviation Industry. And here, if we pan ourselves out a little bit, we can see Diamond Aircraft there as their connection. And in fact, the EDA40 aircraft there as well, in as a node in the graph, if you want to go and read about that. So, Yeah, Wanfeng Auto Group, huge, employed more than 12,000 people, 60 subsidiaries worldwide, a big Chinese diversified conglomerate who own Diamond Aircraft and have that EPS battery system in the EDA40. And then last of all, we saw the render earlier, and just a LinkedIn post to confirm this really, that Archer Aviation, their pre-prototype, sort of pre-series production prototype, the Maker aircraft there that had its first flight recently. If we look at who suppliers are to Archer Aviation, again we find Electric Power Systems there, providing the battery and power tech for Archer Aviation too. There we go. So that's a little bit on Electric Power Systems and Aero.